Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In the mid 80s, action and adventure movies were all the rage. Indiana Jones kind of took that and ran with it. So there was a lot of knockoffs, Romancing the Stone and Alan Quatermain. And this one here, Firewalker from 1986, it was a canon film. It's one of my favorites. So we're going to talk about it next on Drew Reviews. Guys, I gotta tell you, the first time I ever saw Firewalker was after the news late at night. I think I fell asleep during part of it because I was just up so late, but I caught the end of it, where uh, Leo's strung up by El Coyote, and here comes Max and swinging in to save him. And I remember I loved it then, and so I hadn't really seen it since. And several years ago, before streaming was a thing, I actually went to my local Entertain Mart, and it's the only time I'd ever seen this physical copy of this movie, but it's 20 bucks. And I was like, man, I really don't want to do that for a DVD. But I hadn't seen it in well over a decade and a half. And so I bought it. And it was a great purchase. Of course, now you can see it on Tubi. But the basic premise of Firewalker, they're treasure hunters. You've got Max Donegan, played by the great Chuck Norris, and Louis Gossett plays Leo. Max is kind of the muscle, and Leo's kind of the scholar, kind of the more intelligent one. And it's all about their misadventures. And along the way, they run into Melody Anderson's character of Pamela, and she's got this treasure map, so they go out searching for this lost gold. And the movie's just all about the hijinks that they get into. Some great stuff here, but first let's talk about the performances. Chuck Norris, this might be my favorite performance of his, just because the comedy and the chemistry between him and Louis Gossett Jr., those guys are great together. And I would love to have seen a sequel to this movie right here. Like I said, this is one of my favorite. This is probably my third favorite adventure movie of the 80s. And that's not a slight to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which I do like that movie, but to me, this is just more fun. And just the bickering and the chemistry between Leo and Max in this is great. From the opening scene where they're getting chased by that general through the desert, Leo tells him 200 miles of stinking desert, and you find the only hole of water in it. That was great. They're constantly bickering when they have that bar fight, which is an amazing scene where Chuck Norris clears out this entire bar, somewhere down in Central America. Leo gets into it first with this guy, and it's like, "Would you like a little help?" before he starts roundhousing everyone into oblivion. That is one of the best scenes in this movie. My favorite scene in this movie, though, is probably the scene where they're trying to get to the interior. They get this information from this guy in that bar, and so they're trying to get to the interior of this country, to get to this treasure. And so they hop this train dressed as priests and a nun. They don't have any papers, and Leo's like, "I told you we needed papers." And so this bystander ends up getting shot because he didn't have papers, and so they come to them, but they think they're actually priests, and they want them to bless the body. So Max, Chuck Norris's character, is like, "Say something, Leo." He's like, "What do you want me to say?" He says, "Say something in Latin." In Pig Latin, he's like, "Max, this is all your fault, you stupid jerk." It was great. And of course, the guy comes back to life. He's not dead. "Oh, thank you, Padre." To me, that scene, I laugh so hard. Still to this day, I laugh so hard every time I watch that scene. But yes, the banter back and forth between these two guys. Melody Anderson is pretty decent in this movie. I think the biggest thing she ever did was the Flash Gordon movie in 1980. She did a few other things. She's retired now, but I didn't think she drug the movie down any, compared with those two heavyweights. The main bad guy in this movie is Sonny Landham. Of course, he was Billy in Predator, and he's El Coyote in this movie. And of course, he doesn't want them to find this treasure, his people's treasure, so he keeps getting in their way. And there's this great scene in the movie, at that bar where she presents them with that map, and she's like, "There's a problem, with getting of this treasure," and she goes, "You're probably not going to believe me. It's Red Cyclops," because he's got one eye. And it's just a legend. And Leo looks at Max, "Red Cyclops, Leo," and they start howling with laughter. Just some good stuff there. I like the guy who plays Tall Eagle. He's supposed to be this mystic Native American, and he's sitting there. They come in to get information from him. He's sitting there watching I Love Lucy. It's not what you'd expect, from this mystic person in this movie. I thought that was a great touch. The action in this movie is really good. That opening chase scene, or they're inside that first cave that they go in, and they find that dagger that's glowing. And all those Native Americans come in to attack them. I love the sets there. For a canon movie, it looks very ambitious. And the same can be said for the end of the movie, where they fight El Coyote there and they find the treasure in that temple. Just a great set. I thought that was really well done. For this canon movie. This was probably the most expensive canon movie they did in '86, I would imagine. It's really ambitious, and this movie's so much fun. J. Lee Thompson actually directed this movie, and of course he's done so many Bronson movies I like 10 to Midnight and Murphy's Law. Of course, he did the Guns of the Navarone. I really like just about everything I've seen him direct, and he did such a good job on this, capturing the buddy element, capturing the action. The sound design in this is pretty good. If there's anything in this movie that I'm like, oh, that was a little bit over the top, John Rhys Davies, of course, he was Sala in Indiana Jones. Of course, he was in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He plays this character Corky, and he's kind of this militant leader over these people. They think they've actually gotten caught by these guerrillas, but it's one of Max's old friends, Corky. He's so over the top. He's barrel-chested and boisterous in this role, but he's so over the top, it's almost a little bit too much for me, even in a movie where they're having a lot of fun like this. And I like John Rhys Davies, but I think he should have toned it back just a little bit. But overall, to me, the pacing in this movie is great. It runs an hour and like 41 minutes, and I'm never bored with it. There's like one part of one scene where these guerrillas are chasing them through these sugarcane fields. Like, I might have cut like half of that scene out. But yeah, it's brilliantly shot, brilliantly paced. Great acting by the leads and a great chemistry by them. This movie's rated a 5.1 on IMDb. 5.1. This movie's easily a 7.5. All you guys voting on IMDb, man, that's garbage. That's garbage. Get on there and give this at least an 8. Let's get that score back up there, because FireWalker is so much fun. I can guarantee you, you watch this movie, unless you're a complete jerk, you're going to have a great time with this. So guys, thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for checking out the channel. Coming up next, I think I'm going to have some more Van Damme for you guys, maybe some Universal Soldier. Me and Dolph Lundgren, I like talking Dolph movies, so probably some of those coming up here as we get toward February. If you like what you see, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.